about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. Sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
It won't be easy.
You like that?
It will demand everything you've got to give, but you can do it. And I want to give you 3 key principles I've learned that will help you to get it done. Principle number 1, discipline equals freedom. That's not a contradiction, it's an equation. Discipline might appear to be the opposite of freedom, but in fact, discipline is the path to freedom. Discipline is the driver of daily execution. Discipline defeats the infinite excuses that hold you back. Some people think motivation is what will compel them to get things done. But motivation is just an emotion, a feeling. And like all feelings, it's fickle. It comes and goes. You can't count on motivation to be there when you need to get through truly challenging times. But you can count on discipline. Discipline is something you dictate. Motivation won't make you exercise every day. Discipline will. Motivation won't stay up late and finish a project for you. Discipline will.
I have a good boner.
Motivation isn't going to get you out of bed in the morning.
Not more than mine.
Discipline will.
Tell it, Jocko.
Make discipline part of your daily life, and your daily life will get better.
I'll kill it there.
That might be enough. We might have to break up all 3 keys and something else.
That's 90 seconds worth of key number 1.
Ironically, I get motivated by listening to that.
I know. I know.
But I mean, it is an emotion, I guess.
No, it's not, dude. That's perfect. He says it really well. I'm surprised this meathead is able to portray what he wants to portray as easily as he does.
Well, that video is on PragerU. I know I've been called alt-right in the previous episodes, but...
Prager, not Prager.
Prager.
That's a different one.
Prager?
Prager's is for...
Prager.
Pregnancies.
Prager. Prager.
Yeah.
U, like university. It's one of those... That's the guy who gets his stuff shut down all the time because it's not super liberal, and so they get a bunch of...
What did you just get me into?
Well, I think it's interesting on YouTube. I think it's interesting that if you're not super left, you're right. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what this is on. I'm surprised it's still up a week later.
So
look up Jocko Willink. Jocko Willink?
Willink.
How do you spell that?
It's Willink, I think. Willink.
Former Navy SEAL, or I should say you're never not a SEAL, I guess, but or a Marine.
That's the Marines.
Well, it's part of the SEALs, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think they take Marines. I don't.
Right?
I read a whole bunch of books on it too.
Same here. I'm a lone survivor, and
yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I think it's
in David Goggins' book, and
they're the Navy SEAls, and the Marines is a branch of the Navy or whatever.
Right. So the SEAls are the best of the best.
Okay.
Yeah. Frogmen.
I'd imagine there's a lot of Marines who become SEAls.
We can both say they're frogmen.
Sure. We can say whatever we want. There's not any here or there, so.
So I love that. I heard that last week, and I've been thinking about it kind of ever since. And we've talked about it a lot on this podcast that discipline's kind of the only way to get out of your own way.
Sure.
You're very good at that.
It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah, for sure.
To me, it's like kind of you've got your mind and your body, as silly as it sounds, but like me getting up at 4 a.m. is my mind forcing my body to do it, and then your body kind of just does these things, and your mind doesn't get involved, and I think that's where the freedom comes.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, this is happening anyway, so like I can think about the things that I need to do that are different from what I do every day, and the stuff that I do every day, it's just on autopilot. Like, I don't argue with myself. I don't sit there and try and make excuses for why not to do it. At the same time, I'm good with letting myself, take a day off because I know my discipline will bring me back. So that's freedom in itself.
Right. So you allow the wake up call is kind of, I start with that with everything because that's how you start your day. And it really is a big factor into whether you're productive or not for a lot of people.
Big time.
And you've talked me into the 4:30. Got up at 4:30 this morning and got a bunch of stuff done. And it was like menial stuff. Usually I try to hit like I'm gonna hit the gym or I have to get some work done, and I try to like mix up work with the stand-up desk, do some push-ups in between or something. And this morning I got up and was like just doing like housework just because I haven't done it. A place is a disaster. And, like, it doesn't matter. It has to get done at some point.
I think it's, you kind of let yourself, go in the direction that you think is going to make you mentally feel good. That having a messy house, it's tough to be in a good mood if your house is a fucking disaster.
And I used to be in a routine of like, hey, when you get home, that's what you do until, you do the normal stuff until you don't have to.
Right.
And as I'm cruising into a routine, trying to my 2019 campaign to unfuck my life. Part of it is these discipline things, these kind of, it's easy to negotiate with yourself to go, fuck it. I deserve to sleep in a little bit more. The way I negotiate now is like, I'll get up at 4:30 and go, if you want to take a nap later in the day, that's how you can combat that.
Yeah. I tell
Because
myself
if
I
I
don't
br-
deserve shit.
Well, no, I just go, don't be a lazy asshole to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and but I mean, it's like, if I don't feel like I deserve something later on, there's no loss. There's no feeling of like, I didn't get this. Like, it's just like, if I keep it all out in front of me in terms of like, everything's a bonus. If I take a nap and there's no kids blowing me up in my face, it's a nice thing,
Good luck with that.
But I don't think I deserve a nap. What would I do? It's just like when you start to treat yourself kind of shitty.
Well, there's a burnout factor though too.
Right.
I have it a lot worse than you do, I think. But I think you can get to sleep at 9 or 10 at night. I can't. It's really tough.
That's
So I'm trying to. I might move my goalpost or my
your window.
Yeah, like if you're getting to bed at 9, 10, waking up at 4:30, I'll just move mine 2 hours. It's still not as good. I've tried that. But if I'm starting to do stand-up a lot more, I was trying to think about that last night because I got home and I left the show early after I got off and I ran home.
Dude, that's
from St. Petersburg, which is across the bay. If you're out of the area, it's not that far, but as fast as I could
mental hike.
As fast as I could do it was probably 25 minutes, and I was flooring it.
It was like going to a Rays game.
Right. But I mean, there's no one on the road, and I was booking it back using the Waze app. People still don't use Waze, which is fucking crazy to me.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Why not?
Well, I don't know because I can Google. I just
Do they
use
tell you
Google
where
Maps.
Cops are at?
They do.
No, they don't.
I'm asking you.
Oh yeah, you didn't know
Waze
that?
does.
Yeah, it's crowdsourcing what's going on.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I'm gonna download that shit.
WAZE. There's your
You
pragmatic.
know I'm
tip.
riding dirty all the time.
You can call it Waze if you think it's a rapper, but
I don't even know. I don't even care. Like I don't drive fast. I can drive like
you
just
drive,
like an
your
old.
dad driving.
I drive very, by the rules. Don't
You
hang
still
out
don't
in the
want a
fast
ticket
lane.
for any, you can still get a ticket for going 5 miles over if they want.
Yeah.
Or what really it's best for if you're doing a lot of. You went out to the beach over the weekend. Look, that's a 45-minute drive. Sometimes it's an hour and a half. Just depends on how crazy it is, because there's only one lane in a lot of these smaller beach cities.
One way in and out.
So you got to go. That'll tell you if that's blocked off, it'll switch it on you
Yeah, that's cool.
in real time.
That's cool.
Because anybody that's using the app, it's basically tracking you, and then it's
Not cool.
well, you got to
I know.
with advantages
give
come
it-
disadvantages.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of someone's blowing me up.
The fact that it's real time. I mean, Google Maps, they'll give you the little red road
The weird
of delay,
But it doesn't-
But it doesn't tell you what it is. It
won't
doesn't tell you
dynamically switch it.
Yeah, it's like on a fairly solid delay.
And so Google Maps actually owns Waze, which is weird too. That they just didn't absorb it into Google Maps.
Yeah, which
Wa-
tells me it's better for some reason.
Waze
Waze
is well, it's an Israeli company, so I like them Jews.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm the most Jewish Gentile out in these streets.
Any opportunity, I'll play it. Anyways.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Speaking of Jews, go back to PragerU. He's like the biggest Jew of all, literally.
Big guy.
He's big dude, big Jew. And so the Bear Jew, maybe.
Big dude Jew.
And so I like that Jocko Willink. Willink?
You'll never get it right. Do
Willink?
you say Chipotle too?
Chipotle? That's what it's called, right?
You mean the right way to say it?
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
You know when people mess that up on purpose, that annoys me. They call
That's
it
a dad move.
Chipotle.
That's a
And
dad
I'm
move.
like Tarjay.
Yeah.
Cool, Mom. I got
Right.
the joke.
I'm sure you wrote
it's,
that.
It's the classier Walmart. Got it.
Yeah.
It's called Tarjay's fridge. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because part of it is it's counterintuitive to anybody that's creative. Discipline equals freedom. We've talked about it on the show before. It's worth reiterating because a lot of discipline, a lot of the habitual things you're talking about, right, takes 90 days to make a habit form.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just got up, whatever inertia you got to start getting up early. We never really talked about that, but however you did it, eventually it just becomes background.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I can tell you what it was when I was in high school. But funny enough, it was after I had my first ball surgery. I was going to be a senior in high school.
Oh, we need an update.
And the first one was all good. It was good 15 years ago.
How are your balls now?
They my balls now feel like somebody's grabbing them just a little bit and pulling them, not hard, but just like to let you know they're there.
You got the vasectomy?
I got a vasectomy.
Someone say vasectomy?
Yeah.
Nice.
They're okay. They feel better than they did. Listen, you're not
TC Tuckers?
you're not a Superman, okay? If you get a vasectomy, take it easy those 2 days. They tell you for a reason.
Interesting.
Don't go around flopping them around and,
Pun
you don't wanna
intended,
blow
you were
anything out.
very cocky last episode. You're like,
I know.
I can go fucking weightlifting.
I know.
Where are those trapezoid weights? I'll pick them up.
The bottom line is you're going to have 2 days of soreness, whether it's right after or you delay it by being a jackass. And then I had it. So I feel pretty good now, though.
Our primary producer, John Paul, said you're just like jogging out on the hop.
Yeah.
Once you came out of the Dr. Stein's
Bro, style points count in life. I'm going to walk out of that vasectomy clinic with some swag.
Dude, John Paul didn't care.
Yeah, to John Paul.
Do you think the people in the
These are the
clinic were
people.
like,
These are
shit,
the people.
oh my God, he's running out.
That's the opinions I care about. My closest friends.
I started talking about it last night because the stand-up show I was doing, you were on the bill.
Yeah,
whether
thank God.
Whether you wanted to be or not.
Whether they wanted to tell me I was or not.
It was not, I wouldn't say coordinated with the best of...
No kidding.
Yeah. They're like, before the show, first off, I got there at 8:30, and I was like, all right, I'll actually prep for this a little bit. I did.
Good.
Because I'm really rusty. I got some ring rust. Thursday night I bombed, so I was like, all right, you got to get back in you got to get in there in the mix and just actually try. So I was like, I'll get there a little early, I'll write a little bit, and then I didn't get on, like, the show didn't even start till 10 kind of thing, which all I could think about was you being
left.
like, fuck this.
I would have fucking left. I would have left anyways.
So-
Once they said, hey, you're doing 10 minutes, I'd be like, hey, guess what?
No,
I don't.
it's 20. 10 on your own if we did it that way.
I'm not. I would have been like, you guys fucking retarded. You gotta listen.
so I
I don't
talked
even
about
know
a
who put it together. I'm gonna tell them right now. I'm sorry,
It's a lady.
but I'm not sorry because you've never even talked to me about it.
Shannon Kelly, she's fine.
I'm
okay
sure
with
she's
it.
a very perfectly nice person.
So here's the deal. It was all people that have podcasts in the Tampa Bay area that are also stand-ups. Everybody that hosts one does some kind of stand-up, and so Eric would be one of the only, I think, on the bill that doesn't do stand-up legit. I mean, you've done it a handful of times. Or
Yeah,
something.
I don't call myself a stand-up at all.
You would have been fine.
I would have been fine, but because we would have done it differently than what you had to do.
Right. I just did straight up material after a while, and then, but I did talk about the vasectomy and why you weren't there.
I did want to tell you.
But no one knew who you like. No one knew I had a co-host because they didn't.
Oh, well, you should have just left it alone.
So I mentioned it. I should have not brought it up, but I brought it up at the top of the show. I was like, usually I have a co-host. We co-hosted together. It's called Sweat Equity. Go on iTunes, 5-star that shit. Give a girthy review, and try to give like a plug at the beginning. Usually it's a duo of us. Partner couldn't make it because he got his balls cauterized.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talked about that, and one lady in the back knew of Dr. Stein.
Uh-huh.
And what Dr. Currington.
Curington. Mhm.
Currington, and
I say Curington because he cured me of babies.
and he and she was like, I asked if anybody's had known Dr. Stein because I was like, it's a local crowd.
Right.
This guy is got the market share by far.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
got
Dr. Stein.
he's like Google.
That's a good
is-
impression. That's good.
He's what Google is to online search. Like he's got the Tampa Bay area locked down market share wise. And I go, has anybody gone to him? Anybody? And some lady was like, yeah. I was like, oh.
Okay.
And I let that kind of just permeate
Yeah.
because it was a chick and it was in the back of the room. And I'm like, and then she calls out vastweb.com, the website. And I was
Wow.
like, you do know it.
Wow.
And so that was fun.
It was probably the lady who took my credit card at the office itself.
No, this we could play the audio next episode. It was pretty funny.
We'll have to chop it up.
It was funny going back and forth with that, but I was like, their website sucks. You know it. You crawl out the URL.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I know it.
Oh, I know it well. Bookmarked. It's
but-
really one of those things you don't have to go back to it a bunch. It's kind of one and done.
Yeah, I tried to throw in the joke that my Alabama buddy thought. He was like, aren't you going to get fat from that? And I was like,
What?
do you think I'm getting neutered?
Like what? He thinks that your
He thought I was
testosterone
He
is
thought I
just
was going to
gonna
get neutered.
Wow.
And that's almost so unbelievable. I've told it on stage, and it's like, it's almost so unbelievable it's not funny,
Uh-huh.
right?
It's kind of
As a
like
joke?
sad.
Yeah,
Sad. No,
sad.
I meant
But-
to tell you, I mean,
How are
you
you?
should have
doing?
just said Eric's recovering. He had his first orgasm, but it
Ew.
wasn't the best.
Ew.
It left a bad taste on his wife's back.
Oh my god, I can't do that because I'm friends with your wife, and that's
You would have said you could have pulled it on a piece of paper, read it like I wrote it.
I should have.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think that far ahead. I didn't even think I didn't know what I was going to do. Honestly,
I feel so much better about not going to that shit now. Because I was up in the air. I was like, man, I think from the looks of it, they're expecting stand-up sets.
yeah,
And that would have been
nice.
bad.
So here, let's go back to the kind
Anyways.
of scheduling thing, right?
Right. Discipline.
A little, and so discipline's ultimate freedom, right? And any creative listening to this is probably going, well, the more disciplined I am, the less creative I am, or the less I have the ability to be the romantic kind of business person, or the image of what you want to be,
Yeah.
right? But not what you actually are.
But that's not what we're getting at. That's not what it is.
And when I heard Rogan, who's a stand-up comic, talk about this with Jocko years ago, it really changed how I thought about it. Because I used to believe that horse shit too, where you can go, if you're so stressed out with all these things and you're doing all these tasks and all blah, 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 that you don't have time to be creative.
Yeah.
Except the real thing is the discipline, getting your shit done early. It sucks. It's not like anybody listening doesn't
I
know
don't
this.
enjoy
Right.
most of what I'm doing. You think
Exactly.
I like getting in cold water?
97%.
It sucks.
90%, like 90%, 97% of everything you do is fucking like something you don't want to do.
Yeah. But once you do it, that's where the freedom comes. You don't have that weighing down on you anymore. You don't have these
You
little
don't have
things.
you don't have inflammation as much,
Sure.
right?
It's
Because
just-
you do the hard part of doing
Exactly.
the ice bath.
The inflammation can be equivalent to the bills you got to pay or just stuff that is going to happen no matter what. But if you can get out in front of it, get it done, and then your mind is free to create. That's when it happens.
Right, you're creating time to create.
Yeah.
Really.
Exactly.
Ooh, how to create time to create. That's what we'll name it.
I'll change it.
Yeah, change it up. But another part of this is how I've been listening to a lot of stoicism philosophy stuff. The obstacle is the way kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
The Ryan Holiday book, and not the baseball player, but
That's Matt Holiday.
well, there's Matt Holiday, there's Ryan Howard, there's Ryan Holiday, there's what's the
Roy
pitcher?
Halladay.
Roy Halladay.
Now dead.
Damn it.
He's now a dead man.
Is he?
He died in a plane crash.
Really?
Yeah.
When did that
He was
happen?
driving it was in
I probably
Sarasota
drafted him.
or
I probably
something.
drafted him.
Dude, he's flying his own plane, I think, and crashed it.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I don't trust those tiny planes.
I don't know. Yeah.
So one thing I've been
junkie.
hearing about, so to create habits. We've all heard the misquoted quote, you know, we are what we habitually do.
That's the misquote.
It's misquoted to Aristotle. It's actually not Aristotle. It's someone else. There's a close
misattributed.
Yeah. There's another. It was like a 1920s book that actually wrote that.
Huh.
I found that out recently. But another one that I like in that same world is how we do anything is kind of how we do everything.
Sure.
Or it should be how we do anything is how we do everything, which sounds more Zen, Buddhist-y kind of area, but
it's a mindset thing.
Well, yeah, I've definitely got something where, look, you can be hard on yourself pretty much, but hey, why don't you, instead of thinking about picking up that trash and just not doing it that you see, I don't have to pick up any garbage around my complex, my building where I live, but I do it anyway. Because I'll spend 4 minutes thinking about, like, I should go pick that up.
Right.
And then you just
stop thinking about it.
Just go pick it up.
Right. You're spending just
right.
as much energy. It's so weird because, like, I'll do the same thing where it's like, oh, I should pick that up. It's like, well, fucking go pick it up, jackass.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Right.
And then when you have kids, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the sort of stuff that you want them to see you doing and to not make a big deal out of it. Because once your kids get older and they start having all these stupid opinions like mine do, they're going to argue about everything that I don't want to get that thing that's 2 feet away from me and you're standing up. You got to come over here and get it. It's like, you guys need to stop thinking about the stuff and just do it.
Yeah, and it's also, I've been thinking a lot about, I've heard this term recently, servant leadership, right? Where you do things, we've all heard, like, lead by example, but I like this is more specific because you may do things for your employees or your children or anybody that's considered subordinate, right? Inferior to you, I guess.
Right.
Well, however you want to say it.
I know what you're saying.
Lower on the bottom.
If you're in a power position and they're not.
Right. And servant
bottom?
leadership, I heard that with, what's the NPR, How This Got Built?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't
It's a
listen to
business.
NPR.
Well, it's an NPR podcast, How This Got Built.
Okay.
And it was they talk about, it's a really, really good episode with the JetBlue CEO. And he talks about servant leadership.
Okay.
And how he was a Mormon, and that's a big Mormon thing to take away. Like, look, you can make fun of Mormonism all you want. He was very aware of
good stuff.
He's very aware of Book of Mormon. I thought he had a good kind of disposition on himself.
Yeah.
He knows it's a little silly, it sounded like, but his thing was servant leadership. And I heard this in Pete Holmes' podcast and this one just randomly in 1 week.
Really?
Just separate. They talked about servant leadership. And I think that's an interesting concept where you lead by example, but even if that, I used to have a boss that would, like, he's multi-millionaire, and we're in a franchise group. He'd be the guy on his hands and knees, like, looking at the trim of the paint of the place we're trying to build out. And I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I look like a piece of shit because I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I should be on top of it as much as he is because I have to take ownership in it like that.
The minute he stops doing it, why the hell would anybody else be doing that? You know, it's just like that shit's going to permeate down through, trickle down.
And so I see it with my kids already. They're 2 and 1. They see me constantly doing stuff. And so when I go cleanup time, we do a little cleanup dance or whatever, they'll do it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. They want to be told. They want it to be laid out for them, like most adults.
Now I just need to stop cussing randomly around them like, God, don't
Yeah.
cuss."
Yeah. Yes.
Especially weird ones like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, one thing at a time.
Yeah, I mean.
That's the other part with this. I'm going to throw out quotes like crazy today. Moderation in everything, including moderation.
Yeah.
I'm bad about that as well. So if you go, hey, Monday, diet starts, the diet, and then I'm going to wake up early,
Right.
and I'm going to work out, and I got this whole fucking routine. I'm going to start over.
That's the
Cold
thing.
turkey.
Yeah. The all those, like, especially when it comes to diet, exercise stuff, it's like people want to be like, all right, it's night and day now. It's like, well, why don't you set yourself up for success a little bit? How about you lay it out? Why don't you do that thing where you build your rewards in? Like, I know most people aren't like me. Like, I don't need to reward myself, but most people want something to look forward to. do that. Make it so that you're going to be successful in what you're doing. Don't do it like I'm going to change my mindset into The Rock. And that's how
know.
it's going to it's like you're
It's-
not going to get there.
There is like a weird productivity boner you see out of like The Rock, and you see out of these people on Instagram and stuff because you're like, The Rock sleeps 3 hours a night.
Right.
And he probably doesn't, but you think he does
Yeah.
because you see him working out at 3 a.m. He probably goes right back to
He
sleep.
probably sleeps 11 hours a day. Look how happy he is.
Right, but you could probably just go and just pass
Right. Yeah,
out.
too. No.
Dwayne. But
Love to have you on, Dwayne.
Dwayne, well, his dad boxed in Tampa forever, so maybe.
Any wrestling has a Tampa connection.
I heard, yeah, and boxing.
Yeah, that too.
I heard
Think you're right.
Dave Batista's in town, by the way, so we need to get him on. Joseph, you hear us, you intern? Get it going.
Mark it 25-35, Joseph.
We need to get Dax on.
Yeah.
So
Sick.
that would that
Dax.
from Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was something different. Grax.
I cried at the end of Endgame, by the way,
Didn't see it.
because I thought of Tony Stark's daughter, and she might not be alive because they went back in time.
Oh yeah,
And
anything
then-
with daughters.
And
Don't.
then, yeah,
get,
my,
I'm like,
all I
just
can
get
think
away.
Of, all I can think of is my
Daddy's gotta
baby
cry
girl,
now.
my baby girl's
Yeah.
face, like looking at me, like, huh?
Oh yeah. I
Like-
told you. Anytime
Like,
I film
that's
a wedding,
like,
I'll be
that's a real scenario.
I'll be recording. I will film weddings and the daddy-daughter day. I'm like, I need a smoke break. I need to go outside.
All I can think
I
of
don't know
is
these people.
Huge
I don't
eyes
know these
looking at me
people.
like we can't go in the quantum jump with Ant-Man. Come on,
I love
man.
how I don't know any of what happened in the movie.
Yeah,
We
it's
can't
like
become quantum entangled with you, Daddy.
they have to go back in time. It's not. I do not advise it if you plan on getting messed up before, like I did, because I was like, oh
really
boy,
emotional.
this was rough. Well, not even
Also
that.
long too.
It's long, but it's a lot of time travel, a lot of quantum physics, and
Yeah.
then the Hulk is he's both guys now. He's Professor Hulk, so like
Okay, so he's like
that
smart
fucks
Hulk.
with you. Yeah, he's the Hulk, but he's the same. He's Mark Ruffalo too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
so it's like kind of, but they did it really well. I'm just trying to figure out the whole puzzle of it too. How do you fit all those characters?
Dude, it's crazy. 20-something movies.
And how do you do it? How do you do it by representing everybody?
There should be a podcast about this stuff.
If
The
like there's a
nerds.
bunch of wars with nerds in it, I
Yeah.
don't know. Is that? Have you been switching to the upskirt
Yeah.
screen the whole time?
No, I know. It's like 3 times I did it.
So
I was doing a little winky wink.
that disciplines is the ultimate freedom thing. I love that motivation is emotion. That is true, and
Oh, totally.
that'll wear off by the end of this podcast. Thinking about the beginning of that Jocko Willink
Willink.
speech on PragerU,
Uh-huh.
Jew to you. But I think there's a lot of things to take away from. Mainly, like you gotta kind of fall in love with the process. Is the other one I want to talk about. I'm trying to teach myself that
I see.
as I'm starting stand up, almost essentially over. It feels like just getting back into it. I'll get back to normal after I get more reps, but it's like, all right, you can't just riff. You can't just rely on like it's like being like a good basketball player and you got a good shot. Like you can't just rely on
Yeah,
that.
and you step back out there and you're like, oh, I don't even need to stretch.
And then you realize your shot's not that good now because you haven't been playing for 10 months.
Right.
And so
It's either a leg thing
Any chance I get.
or a spiritual thing or a psychological thing.
oh, I like the crossover.
Yeah. It takes too long.
But you got to trick yourself to fall in love with the process. Like that's why the Incremental is such a good podcast because it is
Literally thought about it today.
It
I was
is-
like, I need to do another one of
It
those
is that
things.
incremental gains that you're doing. And look, here's the other part. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Don't do the marathon thing. I'm going to run a marathon, guys.
Yeah, I know.
And then you front load all that. Congrats. I'm trying to cut myself off from doing that, like business wise, just all together. You just do it.
I get it.
Stop
I think
talking about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Just
that's-
fucking do it.
that's like a process as a human that you'll go through where it's like, all right, if I put it out there, everybody's gonna know, and if I don't do it, then I'm a bitch, and then I'll have to do it.
It can help. It can help. But here's what I've been doing. Instead of like going, I'm gonna go do this gig. I'm on a text group text with a bunch of comics that closest comic friends, and I'm just telling them after I did it. and they're calling me out like, "Hey, I thought you were gonna do that one." It's like I couldn't get up, but here's what I did, and they're like, "You're a bitch," and I go, "All right, fair, that's
right.
fair."
Yeah.
So I'm kind of going like, I'm only gonna tell you when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be hard on myself anyway.
The ultimate goal is to answer to yourself.
Right.
You know. So like.
I really want to do an album by the end of the year, or a record, or whatever, special, whatever you want to call it, by the end of the year. At least we could record a 30-minute something and put it on YouTube.
Yeah. There's no. Yeah. There's
and
no.
you get a director credit,
Primary.
producer
Yeah.
credit.
There's no.
Whoa.
There's no. Minimums that you have to meet.
And we get a vinyl going. Yeah.
Yeah.
All hipstered out.
Yeah. That should be nice and
It'll
cheap.
sell.
I need to build a vinyl record maker.
Did I tell you what I want to call it?
Go
Ready?
ahead. I'm ready.
I want to call
What?
it. I have a whole bit I'm trying to theme together
Say it.
to be about pushing rope. That's what it feels like when you're
What?
pushing rope. You know what that is?
Yeah.
When you have whiskey dick. Some
Yeah.
people don't know that.
I know.
So it's called pushing rope, and then a colon, whiskey dick fairy tales.
Wow. It really rolls off the old dick.
I want to make the subtitle as long as possible, just in case I go on anything and they read it off,
Yeah. That's fun.
or just to put it on the cover, just so it looks insane.
The whole naming comedy albums is like.
But
why?
pushing ropes.
You
like,
should just start numbering them
Well,
and
look.
just let them be numbered.
If you're not doing the things we just talked about, you're pushing rope, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Damn, I didn't even mean to just back into that.
How to
But,
stop pushing rope.
but really, if you're announcing I'm doing these things and I've got this diet, and then 3 days later you're fucking not doing it, and no one's really calling you out on it anyway,
Yeah, and
You
then
know-
it's like, what are we all here for?
you're just pushing rope.
Yeah,
And then you're going to be miserable later because you didn't hit the things you wanted to hit.
yeah. You'll realize that nobody actually cares that you didn't do it or did do it or didn't, because you need to care.
Right. All right. Well, I feel like pretty good.
I feel pretty-
I'm going to run down all these real quick. Discipline's ultimate freedom, or discipline equals freedom. Motivation is an emotion. How we do anything's how we do everything. Moderation in everything, including moderation. How to create time to be creative. Fall in love with the process. Servant leadership, and pushing
What?
rope. That's it.
All right, check out sweatequitypod.com, everyone.
What about my sweat equity?
Woo.
Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity.